I don't have any pity for him, Blaine. And I hate that for you, but I don't, because nobody should do that. Nobody in their right mind should do something like that with their child just because they owe money to a freaking drug dealer. He should have never gone on drugs in the first place. I'm so sorry. God, if I could have just got you out of there and snatched you up, I would have got you. And I would tell you that you're the cutest little boy in the world and you didn't deserve any of that. But that little 4 year old boy should have been saved. Should have been saved. Should have been saved. Should have been saved.
At 4 years old, I paid my father's debt. I paid the ultimate price for him. My father didn't want me. My mom became pregnant after they married, and my dad was not ready to be a father, and he asked her to have an abortion. But because my mom had a very strong faith in God, she said no. My father worked for his father, Frank Eugene Lassiter Sr., a contracting company called Lassiter Contracting. And it required them to live in a travel trailer and live where the work took them. In a city in Alabama, my dad decided that he was going to start doing things to make more money. And it's recently come to my attention that my dad owed someone a lot of money. And the way he paid that debt was to leave me at 4 years old with the man he owed. I remember being so confused. I remember being so confused why I was being left with this person I never met. I remember I remember I remember I remember I remember being left alone with him. I remember him offering me juice. And after I drank the juice, I remember feeling sleepy. I thought, I want to take a nap. And I remember that it was a black leather couch. This was the nicest house at that time I'd ever been in. It had granite countertops. It had curio cabinets with all these beautiful things in them. Things just very similar to this. And I thought, wow, this house is so nice. And I laid on the couch in the fetal position and I went to sleep very quickly. And I blacked out. And when I woke up, this man, he looked guilty, like he had done something unforgivable. And I just knew something was wrong. And he asked me if I wanted to go get candy. So he drove me to a gas station and bought me candy and a Sprite. And we started driving back. And during this time, I usually would stay at this daycare that was in a motel. The owner of the motel ran a daycare in the lobby area. And I remember seeing that and screaming as I stop there. Please stop there. I know this place. Stop here. Stop here. Please stop here. And he did. He pulled over. And this is when they were cleaning the rooms. And I remember a lot of the rooms were open. And so I started knocking on all the doors looking for this lady who watched me. And I found her. And she saw me and was surprised. And then she saw him. And she grabbed me and told the man to leave me there. And he did. He just left me there. And so when my mom and my dad went to get me, they found me that I was not there. And he told them where I was. And whenever my mom arrived to the motel, the lady went off on her because she knew that this guy was not good. These were bad people. And she said to never, ever leave me with him again, even though I was not awake. You can only imagine. My dad owed him $10,000. What is $10,000 worth? What is $10,000 for a few hours with a 4-year-old? With me. He never did anything like that to me again because he always thought that I would never remember because I was 4. And I'm sure whoever this guy was had promised him I would remember. He would make sure I didn't remember. But Dad's debt was paid. My dad later confessed this to my grandfather, his father. And my grandfather had to take that to his grave. I believe it was the heaviest thing he ever carried. But now everyone will know. You see, the reason why my grandfather didn't turn my father in, and the reason he kept it a secret, is because he believed that reputation trumped everything else. He was a business owner, and to him was a pillar of the community. And he couldn't have the reputation that his son would have given him. I was the last Lassiter, the final one. And I was told, you have to graduate high school, you've got to go to college, you've got to do this. And it's just a checklist of responsibilities, of mantles to carry. Because I was the last male heir of his legacy, the Lassiters. But this is the legacy. This is it. So yeah, I'm going to carry the legacy. I'm going to speak my truth. My father always tried to forge me into the man, into his image. And I didn't want to be anything like him. He would do harsh punishments, make me stand next to a telephone pole for 6 hours in the summer as punishment, to pick up every single twig in the yard in the middle of summer as punishment. He would beat women in front of me to try to prove something. And now I know that all he was ever trying to do was fix something that he did to me. And I believe that this truth is what he eventually self-destructed in. Because who could carry that? I can't carry it. I cannot carry that in silence. And that is why I am making this. This is why I'm telling the world who Frank Eugene Lassiter Jr. was. Yeah, my father beat women, and he used his 4-year-old son to pay off a debt. So no, I will not I will not carry that with me for the rest of my life in silence. Not going to happen. I may be my father's son, and he may have tried to mold me into his version of a man, but I am the man who was forged in his fire. I am the man who survived. Later, at 5 years old, I would be molested by a family member in my grandparents' home. I'd be made to feel like it was my fault. I believed it. I believed for such a long time that it was my fault, that I deserved it, that I was so unworthy to be loved. But I was carrying the trauma that started when I was 4 years old. See, I may not have been conscious, but your body remembers. Your soul, your spirit remembers. I remember the before and the after so clearly. It's crystal clear in my memory. And it's that trauma that has followed me all these years. And now it makes sense. It makes sense why I never trusted my father. I never believed in him. So now what? Now I have to move on. But I have to forgive him. I have to. Not for him, but for me. I have to forgive my father, and I have to forgive every other person that's ever trespassed against me, no matter how horrible it was, so I can be free. That cycle stops here. This is that threshold. I'll no longer allow the Lassiter name to bind me. I'll no longer allow that legacy to silence me. That's how I can move forward. I wouldn't be who I am today without Yeshua, without Jesus. So if you have a father that you love, hug him dearly, because now you know what it means to have a father. Because I never had one on this earth. It's very important for you to understand that there were good people on both sides of my family. It's very important for you to understand that I experienced duality, a prism. So yes, I experienced darkness from my father, but there were so many people in my family who propped me up. These are people who have stood by me in my darkest times. And I will always, always love them and cherish them. And no matter if they have passed or not, they will always live within me. Because I have become the person, I have become the man that would have protected me. And that's my biggest accomplishment, is becoming that man. So yeah, that's something to smile about. That's something to find joy in. That's something to be proud for. I may not be able to save that boy from what happened, but I know I've become the man who would.
The wallpaper curled like it knew that silence would
I think that's it.
echo the truth. One slipper
I don't think there's anything else for me to say.
the bed. I counted the cracks in my head. The clock didn't tick, it just stared at the space where you weren't there. There was a before with your coat on the door, with your voice in the air, with your steps on